Dr. Prince Amma joins me. He's the Executive Director, VIAM Africa, on this natural science textbook issue that the Ministry of Education now says that this is not a book that is approved. Before that, the GES was speaking for the book, really. But good morning to you, Doc. Thanks for your time.
Good morning, Mama V. I'm most grateful for the opportunity as well.
Sure. So, what is your position on this, really? First of all, what's your interests?
I mean, we are involved in education policy research in Africa and in Ghana as well. And we think that this issue has not been properly addressed, I mean, in terms of looking at the policy framework. The Ministry of Education will not allow any textbook in the system if it has not been approved. There is a textbook regulation, framework or policy that specify how the textbooks should be approved or should be published in and sold in the market. And so we think that the way the issue has been handled, both from the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service, just smacks of lack of understanding of what is happening, on the ground. First of all, if you take the curriculum, the syllabus that are being used in the classrooms, that specific element that has been very contentious deals with the system or the human body. And what it does is to try to explain to the kids what a system is and the fact that a system is made up of different parts. So if you take the human body as a system, you're looking at the part of the human body and what the functions are in relation to the body. And so you find it quite very questionable to hear that the contribution of the head to the human body is for carrying load. You get my point? So that's why we think that it's inappropriate, is an inappropriate illustration of the function of the head. If you take the head holds the sense organs. It holds the sense organs, and it is very easy for you to explain to the kids what the function of the head is in respect of holding the sense organs. Of course, if you go to the higher classes at primary 2, 3, they deal more extensively on sense organs. So what you do at primary 1 is to illustrate the component of the head.
There's another side of those arguments, yes. But the fact is, the Ministry of Education says that this is not part of our approved books.
Well, there are textbooks, there are supplementary books. I hold in my hands the Ministry of Education policy, policy, textbook development policy for pre-tertiary education in Ghana. And this policy is meant for not only textbooks, but supplementary materials, because these supplementary materials are used by the teachers and by parents as well.
Are they approved? Would the GES know of the supplementary books?
You cannot classify a document as a supplementary material if GES has not approved it. And that is why the Ghana Education Service came, to defend this book, to say that they have approved it. And the author in question has shown or provided document indicating that that book has been approved as a supplementary material. Now, how do you distinct a supplementary material from textbook? Because I have got all these books. I went around to the schools to collect all these books from the teachers. The teachers are using them in the classrooms.
So the book in question, you have it right?
No. What I have now is what they said that they have approved, and even down there are questions in it. There are questions in that textbook as well.
Is this from the same author?
No, this is from Peter Siedu and some other authors.
Okay. And you've got questions.
Of course. I mean, if you say if there are areas, if you say that when someone loses the eye, he cannot do anything again, that's very questionable. Or if you say that when someone loses the leg, he cannot do anything again, that's very I'm saying quite difficult to understand within the context of what is happening in the global world. We know, for example, we all know somebody who has no leg at all and has been running and has got a lot of awards. Okay, so if you put this stereotype in the minds of the kids that if you lose your leg, you cannot do anything, that's questionable. And
is that what's
contained
in this
textbook? In this textbook. I will just look for that page and I'll show you what it says. It says that cripple or people without legs cannot walk or run. In page 64 of that textbook that the GES said they have approved and scrutinized. And it tells you that people without hands cannot write or hold things. Now, assuming, especially within the context of inclusive education.
Let me let our
within the
viewers
context
see
of
what you're
inclusive
talking about.
education, which the GES itself has a policy on inclusivity. If you have somebody who is physically challenged in the classroom and you're teaching this, is it sensitive enough to those kids? And this is the approved textbook. You know, what we are saying is that the GES and the Ministry of Education are being irresponsible as far as this issue is concerned. They must admit that they have not done due diligence and that they would invite these authors, sit down with them and reassess the document than to sit, and try to defend the indefensible. I heard someone like the executive director or executive secretary of the National Council for Curriculum Assessment, Curriculum and Assessment, Mr. Chiga, is saying that the head is used for carrying loads. I'm sure he didn't even understand the issues at play. The issue is not what the uses of the head.
So let me put this
Yeah.
point that you make in this book, Natural Science for Primary Schools, Activity-Based Pupils, Book 1. Effect of losing part of the human body. So what you read out is one of the effects. So the point is, people without hands, if you lost your hands, the book says you cannot write or hold things. If you're crippled or if you don't have legs, it says that you cannot walk or run. But in real life, we know that there are people who
can walk and they can write. I know. I can't remember the name of this pastor who does. He writes with his hand.
Yeah.
But, and then he swims. He does everything, but like a normal being. This is what we have to be inculcating in our kids.
Are we perhaps not taking this, definitions too far?
I think what we are doing is that, you see, we are using our own cultural perspective to try to.
Didn't we go through the system with all these illustrations?
But of course, you understand that the things have changed, and the things that were, you see, knowledge is not what you say immutable. Knowledge is subject to perpetual revision. And so at any given time when we find, so there are people who died knowing that the world is square. Others even died with the knowledge that the world is round. And we told somewhere along the line that the world is sphere, the earth is spherical. And now we know that the earth is conical in shape. So knowledge is subject to perpetual revision. And for that reason, when we know that things have changed, and of course these textbooks are developed for a period of at least 5 years. We should be anticipating some of this and to be able to incorporate that.
So what's the problem? What's the problem? Is this an old book that's being carried forward?
No, this is. Every 5 years. This is one of the other textbooks. Of course, this was published in 2008 or so, but it is still in the system and it still carries the head. It still carries that explanation or connotation of uses of head, as you know.
So this is not the same text. This is not the same
textbook because it's all over. It's all over. It's because we have it. Look, what this incident has done is that the GES, the Ministry of Education, will now take a very critical look at this textbook, because before then, the whole process of validating and evaluating textbook is more of secrecy. You cannot, by the regulations, cannot even identify who did that, the committee that sat on it, because you want to, the policy appears to think that when these individuals are identified, it might create room for people to go and see them behind the scene.
Back to the issue of, are we not carrying this a bit too far? Because it says that the head, we carry things on our head. The reality is, I have carried things on my head before. So if you carry things on your head,
I think you are
what's wrong with that?
What is wrong? I will come to the health implications and the various empirical evidence showing that the carrying things on your head has health implication in respect of your spinal, and back pain and joint problems. But I'll come to that. What is the curriculum saying in respect of the human body? We are talking about system. It's not just teaching anything. You are teaching them a concept of a system, like a computer, made up of the system units, the keyboard and the mouse, and each of them having a function. That is what we are teaching. We are not teaching the uses of this is inappropriate. We are not teaching the uses of the head. We are teaching the functions of the head.
Hasn't this always been there?
Look, there is always a starting point. I think those who send this into the public domain and in the media, social media, have done us a very great service, because it has brought, these incidents up and engendered wide public discussion.
What is your fear as VM Africa? Is your fear that if we start telling the children that the head is used to carry things, they will grow up thinking that that's what you use the head for?
Beyond that, I mean, beyond growing up thinking that, I mean, we need to, to understand the implications. How?
What are the implications?
And I'm telling you that.
I've sold tomatoes on my head.
Yes, but we don't know the implications.
Well, what I know is that I'm still very healthy and I'm alive by the grace of God.
If you look at our mortality, rate in Ghana, 56 thereabouts. We have not.
So what are you saying? I'll die at 56?
No,
Perhaps.
No, I'm just making a point that there are a lot of risky health behaviors that has implication for our future lifestyle. And health and well-being is a major policy area in international education now. That you need to teach health and well-being. UNESCO, UNICEF, these are policies on that. And health and well-being, the evidence that health and well-being of students has implication on the educational achievement. And therefore, when you are teaching them, you must teach them within the context of a healthy lifestyle as well. And you think that it is good that you teach people that they should be carrying things on their head, when we know that there are health implications associated with that act. If we are doing it and it's wrong, it does not mean that we should continue to do that.
So what kind of recommendations are you giving? What kind of actions do you intend taking?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, we have said that the Ministry of Education must, reevaluate the textbooks, the content, the syllabus itself, and try to align these with what is happening elsewhere. Because the point is that science is more of a universal, a subject, and has universal applications as well. So you can look at the other contexts and see how these topics are treated, and especially in respect of producing textbooks here, you cannot allow anybody at all to develop textbook without being approved or scrutinized. I mean, if we allow everybody to import anything into this country, we will get unwholesome goods, all over in the market. But the Food and Drugs Board will not allow you to do that.
What as a parent, I mean, I'm looking at the books that you're showing me, and I'm thinking, are my children using these already? Exactly. So what can we do as parents? Because if these are approved books that are being used in the school, what can we do?
Unfortunately, the users of the books, especially in this case, primary and say parents, the primary school people, they don't have the voice now. So the parents have to start, the civil society organization, the parents must stand up for them, because they cannot voice it out. If it were to be in secondary school, yes, even in Ghana, it's difficult to get secondary school people's voice heard. So what you can do now is to call for these books to be reevaluated. The last time we had the curriculum review was 2012, so the next, latest by 2017, there's a new curriculum that has to, because that's the policy, and the new textbooks will also be assessed, or be invitation for a proposal for textbooks will be sent out. And I think that we should begin to look at reassessing these textbooks, the ones that will be coming, and trying to make sure that they align with the curriculum and with best
What
best
actions
practices.
have you taken as VM Africa? Have you sent a petition to the Education Ministry?
And the actions, what we have done, it is these actions that has agitated and got a response from the Ministry of Education. When we held them responsible for that, they came and now dissociated themselves from it after 2 weeks, after 2 weeks of this issue being in the public domain. So yes, we have taken action, we have generated public discussion. That's what we can do within the policy space. And we think that for now, we have made our voice clearly.
So if nothing is done, because we found the GES, for instance, defend it. So if nothing is done,
I mean, if nothing is done, it's up to the parents and other civil society organizations to continue to discuss this and to push for a reform. I mean, of course, we are always pushing for reform, but I mean, this also comes brings into play the issue of GES and the Ministry of Education, and whether or not they should continue to exist.
All right, I would like to thank you for your time. And I don't know, I know that parents are these days very
very
busy,
worried.
but this is, I think, a good time for you to also look through the books. Usually we buy the books the beginning of the academic year, and we carry all to the school. Can we find time to look at what our children have really been taught? But I'm grateful for your time this morning, Dr. Prince Amar, Executive Director, VM Africa.
And thank you very
for
much
making time.
for having me.
Stay with us. We've got talk coming your way right here on the AM Show.